Catch you next time. Last question.
I'd like to know where you stand on the proposed 28th Amendment. That's been going around a lot lately. It means that all congressmen will be equally applied to under all the laws that they make, and all the laws that they make will apply to all of you the same as they do to us. You won't have any special retirements. You wouldn't have any of these sorts of benefits. Everything would be the same, and you go back to the way it was in the original Constitution, where congressmen, all of them, would go and serve their country, live under Social Security, whatever, and presumably some sort of term limits.
Tells me I have to be fast. I would support such an amendment, but it's not going to do any good if the American people don't stay awake and engage in their government. We could have the greatest laws in the world. We already have the greatest constitution in the history of mankind, but it's been trampled on, not because of the Constitution. It's got trampled on because we didn't do enough to prevent these people from getting elected. And I indict myself on that. That's my fault. Never again will I be on the other side of that. Never again in November will I look at the new crop of career politicians be elected and think, wow, I probably could have done a lot more to prevent that. No, we fight now. We fight now, and that's the solution, but I would support that amendment.
Kind of looking back to one of the things that Joe said about what is the solution across the nation? And Jonathan said, it's not just about any one of us. And that's why more than a year ago, I started to build a coalition of candidates around the country because I believe that we've got to put a real dent in Washington in 2010. If you go to my website, brianmillerforcongress.com, and you click on the tab that says Freshman 50, you can learn more about it. But the first issue on that is apply the law equally. It is exactly what you said, sir. It is that we citizens ought to be treated equally with those high and mighty in that elite Washington clique in Washington, D.C., inside that beltway. In addition to applying the law equally, we also, like I said, limit terms in Congress, enforce congressional ethics, balance the budget, reform the tax code, and read the bill. Those are the 6 issues. Those are the 6 issues that everybody that becomes part of the Freshman 50 must sign on to. And we're going to stand in unison as a voting block of 50 strong in the House of Representatives before we get there, so we don't get clinked off one by one in that cesspool that is the Beltway. And we're going to stand and we're going to make a dent. And that, I believe, is how we really go about effecting true change in Washington immediately in January 2011.
I love the idea of the 28th Amendment. I love the idea because it goes to the heart of what we've been fighting over in this last election, in this election, and that is we have congressmen and women who believe that they are above the American people and not of the American people. I remember when I was in the legislature, someone went up to me and they said, look, we know that someone from the Army went up to me and they said, we know that you're in the Army, and we know that you're also in the legislature. If you want, you can sign on the dotted line a letter to send to the Pentagon that would mean that you'd never have to serve a day in Iraq. I supported the war in Iraq. I remember in infantry school they said to us, the leaders lead from the front, they don't lead from the rear. So I did send a letter. But I didn't send a letter to get out of serving, I sent a letter to volunteer to go to Iraq because I believe that we need to set an example whether we're in the local elected office or whether in Washington, D.C. That should be the way we do things. And the thing that I'm proudest of in this election, we have differences. We have a lot of differences. There's a lot of things that we don't agree on. But you know what? I'm proud of the fact that the 3 of us, and Andy Goss, who was in the race earlier, all 4 of us have something in common. We all wore the uniform of this country. We all served in combat, and we all signed an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States.
This could go on all night, I know, because they're all going to be here later, so you can hang out and ask all every question you need to tonight. I'm going to do some housekeeping and then let them wrap up with their closing statements. Early ballots will be arriving July 29th in your mailbox. If 60% of the election happens in this early ballot season, so you've got to tell your friends, you've got to tell your neighbors, you've got to get people registered out there to vote and get that vote happening, because that's how this stuff is for these guys. A couple people here just to acknowledge, and if I miss you, I apologize. Senator Frank Antonori in the back. Hey, Senator. Terry Proud is running up an LD 26 for office. Caroline Schneider, she's running on the clipboard. She's put this event on. She's running on the clipboard. And then how many people in here are PCs right now? Like you're the PC of? All right, good stuff. That's a huge momentum going on in our community right now. A couple other people that are behind the scenes at the party level that you just really don't know about. Walt Stevens up here in the front. Executive Committee. Lynn St. Angelo, back. Greg Harris, saw him around, he kind of runs the place. Lori Oyen, of course. Maxwell Sullivan. These are just names that you don't normally hear about or see, but they're so critically important because they're the ones volunteering and showing up and getting out there and being a part of it. So, good stuff. Thank you guys for all being here. We're going to do the wrapping up statements and then turn it over back to Caroline and Lori. So, who wants to go first? Let's see. All right, let's start on this one. Let's go to Justin.
I think we're all here because we, despite our differences in opinion on certain issues, we want to beat Gabrielle Giffords. Right? We know that it's not just going to be about money. It is about issues. And we got to focus on that when we're going against Congresswoman Giffords. So I'd ask you to consider this. When the election, we disagree on some things. But when we go to the ballot box, and when the narrative for the debate, for the general election, it can't be about our candidate continuing to defend a political record. We know how the Democrats are going to operate. We've got to focus on Congresswoman Giffords' record, not on a record in the State House or on political affiliations with the lobbying firms, and that sort of thing. And they're going to try to do that to Jonathan. They will do that. They've already started this kind of thing. And with Jesse, they're going to focus on a lot of the baggage that he's had throughout this campaign. Every time he criticizes stimulus spending, she's going to point to him and say, it makes your job available. It puts bread on the table for your family. This is politics. And the Democrats do not want to talk about Gabby's record. They want to talk about something else. I'm not bringing that political or personal baggage to the table, but my message is one of a constitutional conservative that appeals not just to we Republicans. It appeals to a lot of independents and a lot of moderate Democrats, because vote-turning issues such as the border, when we put forward a solution to actually solve it, people will turn out en masse to vote for it. And so I ask you to consider that when you go to cast your ballot starting on July 29th and heading in to August 24th. It's going to get dirty come August 25th, going into November 2nd. We got to give ourselves the best chance to win. And I think that it's not about sending a politician to Washington anymore. And it's not about sending a warrior. It's about sending someone with solutions, the ability to lead on these solutions. It's about sending a statesman. My name is Brian Miller, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Hey, all right. Thank you all for coming out here tonight in the Swamp Box for a while. Thank you for putting on this event, everybody. And it's hot, and you come out here and you do it, and that's why we're going to win. That's why we're going to win in November. Because we have a group of people here that are sick and tired of screaming at